Everyone said Matt Armstrong was brave for going up against Ferrari. What nobody said was whether it was actually smart. Because this isn't a story about a damaged car, it's about a builder who kept going even when every sign told him to stop. And Ferrari didn't step in just out of arrogance or policy, they stepped in because Matt crossed something deeper. Not a law, not a moral code, a boundary, the kind that isn't written down, but everyone in that world understands. And Matt didn't just cross it, he documented it, shared it, turned it into something millions could see. That's when it changed. He didn't just challenge Ferrari, he forced their hand, made himself impossible to ignore. And once that happens, there's only one way that story ends. This might be the most controversial move Matt has made, not because of the rebuild itself, but because of how it unfolded. Unlike his previous projects, this didn't fail quietly. It played out in public, in real time, in front of an audience that could see every step. And once that kind of exposure happens, there's no reversing it. If you've been following and feel like something isn't adding up, that instinct is valid, because the narrative being presented is incomplete. There's a layer to this situation that hasn't been directly addressed, and understanding it changes how you interpret everything that's happened so far. Here's the surface level explanation. Matt acquires a damaged Ferrari 296 GTB. He begins rebuilding it. The system blocks the battery from reactivation without Ferrari's approval. He can't obtain that approval. Ferrari locks him out. That's where his version stops. But if you look closer, that's not where the situation actually begins. The story Matt is telling feels clear on the surface. But when you look closer, there are gaps. And those gaps matter more than anything he's actually shown. Just think about the timeline. When did he really acquire the car? At what point did he contact Ferrari? What did that conversation actually look like? Because we don't see any of that. We've seen the locked screen, we've seen the struggle. But the one thing that matters most, the communication, is missing. And that's not a small detail, because with manufacturers like Ferrari, nothing happens without a record. Emails, requests, official responses. If access was denied, there's a reason, and that reason is documented somewhere. But that part hasn't been shown, which raises the real question, why? Maybe there's no record at all. Maybe it exists, but it doesn't fit the narrative. Or maybe it exists, and it changes everything. None of those outcomes are comfortable to sit with, but one of them is likely true. And then you have to look at how this all started. Because before Ferrari ever stepped in, Matt was already working through the car using third-party diagnostic tools. Not official tools, not approved systems. Independent software designed to get around the very restrictions manufacturers put in place. Now, from a builder's perspective, that makes sense. You use what you have, you find a way forward. But from Ferrari's perspective, that moment changes everything. Because it doesn't look like problem solving, it looks like someone trying to bypass control. And when that's happening publicly, when millions of people are watching, it stops being contained. Now Ferrari isn't just dealing with a damaged car, they're dealing with exposure. With perception, with the risk of their systems being challenged in front of the world. And that's when it shifts from a rebuild to something much bigger. And this is where the real question starts to surface. One that nobody is asking directly. Was this narrative built deliberately? Because if you look at the structure of the content, it's hard to call it accidental. Each upload ends right at the point where tension is highest. Each obstacle is framed in a way that positions Ferrari as the blocker. And over time, the audience is slowly conditioned to feel one thing: frustration. Frustration with Ferrari. And the timing matters, because that sentiment was already building before Ferrari had even fully responded. At that point, this isn't just documentation. It becomes something else. A form of pressure. Public visible pressure. Directed at a corporation with millions of people watching. And corporations don't ignore that kind of attention. Now the common defense is simple. He's just a creator. He's just showing his experience. He doesn't control the outcome. But that explanation raises a bigger question. If this wasn't intentional, why does it look so structured? None of the defenses hold once you actually look at what he chose to show and what he deliberately left out. Every omission is a decision, and creators with Matt's experience don't make mistakes like that by accident. He painted a story of Ferrari being impossible while carefully erasing any trace of his own role in the conflict. Every clip, every frame, every moment of frustration was curated. That choice isn't harmless. It carries consequences that only start to reveal themselves later. Because what happened next changes the story entirely. Reports started surfacing, just as Matt's rebuild was playing out in public, that Ferrari wasn't simply reacting. They were allegedly developing their own modified 296 GTB behind the scenes. If that's true, and there's enough credible signal to take it seriously, then the timing of the software lockout looks completely different. Suddenly, it's not about defense or ego, it's about control, about protecting something they were already building, and that casts every moment we've seen in a whole new light. And here's the thing most people completely miss: the financial dimension. This isn't just a car, it's a high-stakes, hundreds of thousands of dollars machine frozen mid-rebuild. Matt has poured money into parts, tools, diagnostics, and time, and every week the car sits disabled is cash slipping away. But the public documentation makes the losses worse, because now every stalled week isn't just money, it's exposure. Every clip strengthens Ferrari's position. The very audience he may have been hoping would create leverage has become part of the trap. And that's where it gets even messier. This isn't just about one rebuild, it's a test case. Every major manufacturer is watching. Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche, Bugatti, they're all paying attention. Because this shows them how a creator with millions of eyes on every step can be handled. And the lesson they're learning is brutal. Public pressure doesn't change the calculus, it hardens it. The very strategy Matt thought might give him an advantage may have done the opposite. It gave them a playbook, which brings us to the uncomfortable reality. Matt didn't just risk a single car. He may have reset the terms for how creators and manufacturers interact for years to come, and he did it either without realizing it or with a very calculated subtlety that no one is talking about. But here's the twist you can't ignore: Matt Armstrong is not naive. He's rebuilt hypercars, managed international supply chains, navigated manufacturers, and knows exactly how public exposure affects negotiation. He understands the difference between building a community and using that community as a weapon. So when you look at how this played out, the timing, the framing, the very deliberate documentation, it's nearly impossible to believe he didn't know what he was doing. Which brings us to the real question that nobody is asking out loud. If Matt knew the risks and went forward anyway, this isn't a disaster. It's a decision, but a decision to achieve what exactly? Was it leverage? Was it exposure? Was it a warning shot to the industry? Or something else entirely that we haven't even realized yet? Every video, every post, every clip could be a piece of a larger plan, and we're only seeing what he wants us to see. And that's why the story is far from over. Because for every moment he shows you, there are moments he hasn't. Every omission is a twist waiting to reveal itself. Every delay, every blocked system, every manufacturer move is part of a puzzle that only gets more complicated the longer it plays out. So until we see the full picture, everything Matt puts out needs to be watched carefully, not just for what it shows, but for what it keeps hidden. Matt Armstrong didn't just face a locked Ferrari 296 GTB. He may have orchestrated the public conflict in a way that reshapes the rules between creators and manufacturers. What seems like a disaster might actually be a calculated decision, with consequences far beyond a single rebuild. Every omission, every clip, and every moment of exposure is a twist in a story that's still unfolding, and we're only seeing the surface.